Be showing you my everyday neutral eye look and sort of just my everyday look in general. So let's get to it. Excuse the hair, we had Canada win gold today, so I was up at 4 a.m. watching the game, so I think you can make it acceptable just for the time being. So what I'm doing first is I'm taking my Benefit Professional Primer, just squeezing a bit onto my fingers, and I just put this over areas where my face is more porous. So I'm just going on the cheeks, down the nose, forehead, and chin. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Maybelline Dream Liquid Mousse foundation. I am in the shade Nude Beige, and I just take a few pumps of that, and I use my fingers, warming it up in my hands, and I'm just going to use my fingers to apply it onto my face. Now this color is a little bit dark for me at the moment, just because it is winter and I'm lacking a bit of a tan. What I like about using my fingers as opposed to using a brush is that you get a much less streaky effect, because the warmth of your hand is really working that into the skin, whereas a brush is just synthetic material rubbing over, and it can cause sort of lines and also making it sink deeper into your pores, making your pores super obvious. I do like to add a little more where I tend to experience redness, just because I'm more of a foundation girl than I am concealer. So just adding a bit to my nose, which I do experience some sun damage there. Okay, so after that's done, we're going to take our concealer. Now I'm using a highlighting concealer today. It's the Maybelline Dream Lumi Concealer. And the reason why I'm using this is mostly just because my MAC pot is out, but I find it does create a really nice effect. So by highlighting, essentially what we want to do is we want to make certain areas of the face stand out. As opposed to contouring, you want to create shadows. So I'm putting this under my eyes in a triangular motion, down my nose, forehead, chin, and like I already said, sides of the nose. Then once again, we're going to use the best tool we have, which is our fingers, and just rub that in. You do want to be careful when you're going around the eye area. I like to use my ring finger just because it is sensitive skin there, and you don't want to cause any sort of damage by using a finger that's a little stronger. Alright, so after I've applied that, we're going to move on to contouring. So contouring might seem super scary to you guys because you see pictures of Kim Kardashian and you're like, whoa, I don't want to look like that. Or I do want to look like that. Guess it depends. But I actually find she uses way too much. So I'm going to show you my method of doing it. So on a brush, I'm just taking my NARS Laguna bronzer. So that's that there. It's a perfect color for really any season. Okay. And then I take that on my brush, just down the sides. What I'm actually working from is the tip of the ear downwards. So by doing this, you're ensuring that you get the majority of the product just under your cheekbones there. What I don't recommend doing is sucking in your face and working it in there, because as soon as you get it down to the mouth line, it just looks very unnatural, and that's just not something that you really want. So once again, notice that when I am sucking in my cheeks to do this, I'm only doing so that I can see my cheekbones more. I'm not actually going into the corners of the mouth and drawing down that line. So we've done the cheeks. What I really like about using a powder as opposed to a cream contour is I find that it's a little bit easier to blend and really work out. So next we're just going to take it along the forehead, just sculpting the angle of the face. It's okay to press quite hard here. Don't worry about that. And then we are also going to be going along the jawline as well. So, and what this is doing is this is creating shadows in your face. So it essentially slims down. So when we add that with the highlighting, it just creates a very nice effect. I'm switching to my kabuki for my neck because it's a wider surface area just to go down the neck there, and I find it creates a really slimming effect. So just rubbing it down the neck there. Don't be scared to really blend in. Okay. And after I've contoured, the last thing that I like to do is contour my nose. This is a very important step, and it really just does make such a big difference. So I'm taking my Sephora number 29. It's a bullet brush here. And once again, dipping it into my NARS Laguna bronzer. Be careful not to add too much onto your brush, because with a bullet brush like this, because it's so dense, it is going to disperse a lot of product. So what we're doing here is we're starting at the top and just drawing a straight line down your nose. And then you can work it to the tip of the nose as well in a diagonal line. Getting more product for the other side. Once again, just straight down and tip of the nose using our brush to blend. And then we're just going to take our fingers just to blend that in a little bit more, especially at the top is where I find the product concentrates. So you really see what a slimming effect that has on the nose there. Really is quite incredible. Next we're going to be using the NARS The Multiple. I use the color Orgasm. What I like about cream blushes is I find that they go on a lot easier, and they're just easier to manipulate on your face with the warmth of your fingers. So we just dotted that on the cheeks and just rubbing it up into the hairline. Alrighty, so last thing I sort of do to my face is I highlight using Benefit's High Beam. So this is a little bit different than a highlighting concealer because this just adds an extra shimmer onto your face. This has a pearl-like quality, which makes it look really soft on the skin. In the summer, I typically like to use a golden one, which is actually Benefit Sunbeam, but in the winter, when you're a little bit paler, I find this works really well. So what I've done is I dotted it in a C motion around my eye, as well as put a bit on my Cupid's bow. Once again, taking your most important tool, your fingers, just rubbing that in. And it just adds a super nice glow, making your lips look fuller and your cheekbones look higher than they actually are. It's all about manipulating the camera look. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to my eyes. So I'm taking my NARS eye primer. This stuff's fantastic. So it just comes on a dough applicator, and I'm just sweeping it over my eyes. No need to be super precise. And then I rub that in using my ring finger once again. Then I'm going to move on to my Shuamora eyelash curler. This one's really perfect if you have small eyes. Just 2 clamps on each. Don't worry about pressing too hard. Just make sure that you're doing this step before mascara. I do have a lovely friend who managed to pull her eyelashes out, so they can be weapons, so please be careful. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Naked Basics palette. I absolutely adore this palette. It's pretty much got everything you could ever need. So I'm going to take the color Walk of Shame, which is that third sort of pinky color in the mix. I'm taking my Sephora 213, dipping it in the powder. With this stuff, you can never really go wrong. It doesn't have much fallout, so don't worry if you're putting too much or too little on your brush, because it's not going to end up all over your cheekbones later. So just sweeping this across the eyelid. And then I am once again going back in with my bullet brush. I'm making sure that we've wiped off all the excess. Just wipe it off on a tissue, that's usually what I do. And then I'm going in with Naked. And what we're doing here is we're putting it right into the crease using a windshield wiper motion. If you just put your brush there, you can literally feel where it starts, the eye socket is, and you're just tracing along there. And what this does, similar to contouring, is it just adds a nice shadow into the eye, so it makes your eyes look deeper and more defined. So once I've done that, I'm just going to take my blending brush, just escaped away from me there. This is just the one that comes with the Naked 2 palette. I use the blending end more than I use the flat end. So blending is super important. You want to take a big fluffy brush, just go over the crease in the same motion. No need to be super exact here. And an important factor is that this brush should be clean. The point is to sort of wipe off the product and blend the colors together instead of actually applying more. So next I'm going to take the Sephora Pro Brush again. We're just going to smoke this look out a bit using Faint, which is the dark brown. So I'm just applying that onto the outer third of my eye, blending up into the crease and a little bit underneath the eye as well. So outer third of the eye, underneath, and up into the crease. Feel free to add more product if you want to make more of a smoky look as well. Then I'm taking my blending brush again, and I'm just going over that. So I'm blending it in with Walk of Shame, and at the crease area I'm blending it in with Faint. This is just such a perfect look for daytime. It really doesn't look like you're wearing a whole lot of makeup or like you tried that hard, but it's just such a beautiful eye look. Okay, and then next, because this palette is so versatile, I actually like to use the eyeliner that's in the palette itself. So we're just taking the black color Crave, and we're just doing a wing. So I like to trace it right along my lash line. You'll notice that some is actually getting on my lower lash line, which is perfect because it means that I don't need to go back and apply a lot later. Adding some to my lower lash line and waterline. So I like to do quite a thin line. I just think that it looks best on me. I'm then taking my NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk, and this just adds such a perfect highlight to the inner corner. And because I like my lips to look really full, I put some here as well. Just using your finger once again, blend it in. And this really just does give you that Victoria's Secret, I'm wide awake and perfect and I woke up like this look, which is so perfect when you're running to school and you're often get up 20 minutes late like I do. Next I'm taking Benefit They're Real. This brush has a really good plastic applicator with a sort of circular tip on the bottom there. Just rubbing that into my lash line. It really does such a great job just to separate it. Alrighty, and then moving on to my brows, I am just going to use my Benefit pencil. So mine is super used up. You can tell I love this product. Mine's in light. I take the spoolie, just run it along my lashes, and we're just going to fill them in. Brows really are so important. I like to focus creating an arch, blend off, and then last thing I'm just going to apply hue for lipstick and then we're all set. Fantastic. Just do that. Lips together. There we go, everyone. That's my neutral look. I hope you enjoyed it today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.